This is something that is streamlined, that is focused, and is designed to answer most of our questions. And I hope that at the end of this session, we're going to like pick a lot from this. So allow me to start like this, right? This is the very first brutal truth or the brutal reality of our time right now. Power BI, as we know it, is changing. Or let me say it has changed, right? Power BI is no longer that developer tool, or sorry, that visualization tool that we used to know, right? And as a Power BI developer, you're not just that person or that guy that builds reports anymore. If you've seen the way Microsoft, the trajectory has been changing, the AI and everything, and we're starting to see a lot of these new amazing features. I can even say that I may be wrong, but a lot of the features that have been released in the last 2 years alone, I doubt if 60% of people on this call today have used those features, right? I know that a lot of us are comfortable with the traditional BI, Power Query, clean your data, transform it, do your proper ETL, load it to Power BI, write your DAX, build your visual, publish to the service. Like, it works. And for most of us, we may be wondering, like, if this thing is not broken, why fix it? Like, Power BI works. It solves the problem. Why is all these things that we're talking about, MCP server, TMDL, PBIR, like, why does it concern me? And that is what I hope to answer with today's session. So Power BI is no longer that visualization tool that we used to know. And if you're learning Power BI in 2026, it is going to be way different than someone that learned in 2020, 2021, or 2019. All right. And again, I know that there are course builders here, that are trainers on this course today. These are lessons that we can, it's also going to be helpful to us. These are things that we can inculcate into, like, maybe our curriculums, how we train, how we teach. We need to start introducing some of these things to people. Right. So Power BI is evolving into this like complete data intelligence platform. We're now leveraging automated insights, predictive analytics, AI. We're connecting, interacting apps. And the focus of every BI developer right now is moving from traditional reporting to empowering analytics for every user, right, in the organization, from analysts to executives to C-suite level executives. And that is just the stark reality of today. And that is what is going to be the central theme of my conversation today. So what am I going to be talking about? I'll be talking about the AI landscape in business intelligence. What are the current state? What are the emerging trends? I'm going to talk about AI-powered features in Power BI, the ones that we know, the ones that are new. The critical question, is my job safe? I'll try to answer that. AI-enhanced data modeling. What can AI even do for me as a Power BI developer? What are the limits? What are the what are the gains? What are the limits? What are the limitations of generative AI in Power BI? All right, that's also going to be what I'm going to be talking about. Understanding the constraints. Where are we right now with AI? What are the possibilities? What is to come? Okay, how are developers, how are Power BI developers using AI today? I split that into 4 different categories, right? I'm also going to be talking about building AI-driven visualizations, okay? What are the developer tools and best practices that we need to imbibe as Power BI developers? Are there any governance and security considerations that we need to take into account? How do we future-proof our skills? So we've established a fact or a basis. How do we now build up? How do we level up to these next gen skills or tools that we're talking about? Okay, so that's going to be the foundation of my conversation today. So let's move on. Again, by the end of this session, I plan to answer the question which most BI developers and data analysts are asking. Will I still have a job in 5 years? Right? Some may say, oh, 5 years is small. 10 years, will I still have a job in 10 years? Let me give you a very short backstory. When I started data analytics or BI in 2014, all I knew was Excel. I think I've said this story a lot of times before. All I knew was Excel, and I supported a business. I single-handedly supported a business for 3 years using only Excel, right? We used to have dedicated Excel, I don't know if we call them Excel data analysts and the likes back then. Right now, Excel is like knowing how to use Word or PowerPoint. Everybody analyzes data in Excel right now. And if all you know right now in 2026 is Excel, you're going to struggle. I mean, there are foundational places where Excel is still very much useful. Like if you're in the finance industry and you're building maybe financial models or doing all the P&Ls and the likes. Yeah, very good. Excel, very fantastic. I'm talking in terms of analytics and analysis right now. So again, this begs the question. Now we've learned Power BI, right? But how future-proof is this skill that we've learned? I'll try my best to answer that question. Okay, so moving on, let's start this way. The AI landscape in business intelligence. Okay, what is the current state and what does the future hold? So the current state of how AI is permeating the business intelligence right now is, I mean, the current state is around natural language queries are becoming standard. I think that this is something that we would have seen in different sectors, right? So, or in different dashboards that we have built. Our dashboard users want to be able to ask questions on their data. They don't want to wait for this person to interpret their data or you've built a dashboard. They want to be able to query, to ask questions using natural language and get answers and insights from the dashboards that we have built. Automated insight generation, right? They want to be able to extract insights from your data. Okay, ML powered forecasting. I know this is something that is currently in Power BI. I doubt most of us have used this feature, but we can do like time series in quotes forecasting in Power BI. All of this, again, current state. What are the market drivers for AI, right, in business intelligence? We're talking about democratization of data analytics. Again, I mentioned data analytics or data analysis is now not only the job of the data analyst or the BI developer. A lot of people are doing self-serve, or a lot of executives right now want to do self-serve analytics. All right. In fact, I worked for a project recently where the client, the whole thing we needed, they don't build dashboards for us. Just fix our back-end systems. We want to be able to have models, clean up, do all the proper ETL, build these data models for us. Give it to us, and we want to be able to do self-serve analytics without having to write, without having to know DAX, without having to do anything in Power Query, without having to do any visual. Just give us a data model. Give us something that is trusted, that is clean, and something we can work on. So data analytics is becoming democratized. And very soon, this is going to be second nature. Everybody in an organization will be able to use data for what they want without needing to consult an analyst first. Francis, if you can please help. There are some mics that are muted in the chat. Please help mute everyone. Right? A lady reached out to me recently and she wanted to build reports for our organization. I mean, this was still an Excel-based report. She's not an analyst. She have very limited Excel skills or Excel knowledge. And she wanted me to help guide her through how to. I asked her, do you have the data? She said, yes. I said, then your life is simple. I simply guided her. There's Copilot integrated directly into Excel right now, right? Just ask questions on on your data. What is my top sales by segment? What is this by this? What is this by this? Copilot builds perfect pivot tables for her. And I just asked her, convert this pivot table, turn them into visuals, put it into another page in Excel, ask Copilot to clean it up or to even build the visuals for you, do small analysis. This girl moved from, or this lady moved from complete zero knowledge on building. I mean, I'm not saying she's now a full-fledged analyst, but she moved. Her job was not even an analyst. She was a HR assistant or something. And she just needed to present a dashboard about her role. You don't need to get an analyst for that. And she moved from zero knowledge in reporting and data analysis to building a full-fledged dashboard within 2 hours without no assistant. All I needed to tell her was how to prompt Copilot in Excel, knowing the right questions to ask, and that was all. She built a full-fledged dashboard in 2 hours. No teaching, no coaching, nothing. So analytics is becoming democratized, right? There's also the need for faster decision making. Okay, and if you know the appetite for how businesses are consuming data, you can get this. When I was doing data, like I said, around 2014 and the likes, after I moved, I changed roles. The tradition then was that if you want to analyze data, you go meet. There are some people called SQL, what do they call them? Database administrators, or IT, as we would call them at that time. A business question will come. We go to them and say, this is what I need. They write the SQL, they export the Excel, whatever, and send it to you, the Excel analyst or whatever, to build the dashboard. When there is another question or a follow-up question, you go back to them. I mean, the circle repeats. But that you can tell that there is a lot of bottleneck in that process. First time to insights was very small, was very long. Time to decision making was very long as well. All right, so there was that need for me to make it faster. Power BI completely shattered that whole process. You connect directly to the data source, you analyze the data, you put it in front of the business stakeholder. But right now, there's even more demand where they're not stopping at that right now. You've built for me a dashboard, but I have more questions. I don't want to come back to you to say, oh, I have this. What if I want to see it for this segment, or I want to see it like this, or I want to shape it like this, or I want to be able to do all of those things myself, right? Without needing the back and forth with it. So that democratization, that need to get faster data, to get faster insight, to get faster decision, that is what is going to change the next level of analytics. Now, I added the last point here, which is there's shortage of skilled data analysts. I don't want to shake any tables with this, but I'll leave it there for now, right? When I say skilled, I should have put this in quote. A lot of data analysts right now, but businesses are asking more questions than what the traditional data analytics knowledge is, or that is available. Okay, but I don't want to shake tables, so I'll leave this. Okay, now let's move to the next point. What are the key trends that we are seeing? We're seeing conversational analytics interfaces. Right now, there are your analytics engine is no longer, for most people, for most organizations, it's no longer that dashboard, all right? It is simply a generative AI interface. That chat feature that we're familiar with generative AI. We have all your data. You've plugged all your data model. You've done all the transformation, the shaping and everything, and you're just serving it to the end users as what? As a Gen AI engine. It's just a plain canvas. And someone will go there and just say, what is our, what's it called? Net profit for 2019 in Orlando by between this or so time and this or so time, right? All the modeling is there. You write the DAX in the background, they just see answer, they see results. Can you dimension this into the colors of product we built? Can you do this? Can you do this? These are the key trends that we are seeing. Conversational analytics interfaces. For most organizations or some organizations, no longer a dashboard, because a dashboard is static, all right? When I say static, I mean the visuals. I'm seeing the same thing over and over again, but I have dynamic questions. I want to be able to prompt a system. I want it to be intelligent, all right? That's the trend we're seeing. We're having auto ML integration. I also edge analytics with AI. For the interest of time, I'm going to move on. Now, let's talk about what we currently know. Before we go to the unknown, let's quickly dissect what we know already. There are already AI-powered features in Power BI. Even some of these are dated as far back as 2015, 2016. All right. How many of these have we used? I'll run through them and maybe we can do a show of hands. If you've used at least 4 of these AI features that are currently in Power BI, excuse me. So you have Q&A visual. Again, this is I was telling someone that we had Gen AI in Power BI before it even became mainstream. If anyone can do a quick Google check of when we've had Q&A visuals in Power BI, all right, where we just ask questions against a visual and it gives you, against your data model and it gives you a visual, all right? If anyone can do it, I don't know when this feature was launched in Power BI, I can just drop it in the chat, all right? We have the key influencer. There's a key influencer visual in Power BI. It's an AI visual that tells you what are the key drivers for your data, all right? It's a very fantastic tool. I've not seen a lot of dashboards use it. I've seen use cases and I've implemented it a couple of times but it requires training. I mean, even for the end users, for them to be able to know, okay, this is how to use it and the likes. We have the smart narrative. Again, this smart narrative, it's not always correct. It's not correct most of the time, but all the time, but most of the time it's correct. You have your dashboard and you just add the smart narrative visual. It summarizes and gives you the key insights on your dashboard as a visual on its own. And you can make it dynamic if you introduce, like you change some parameters with DAX and the likes. Okay, we have the quick insight visual. I think this one is in the Power BI service. You can also look at the dashboard and prompts or click on quick insight and it gives you all the insights in your visual. We have the decomposition tree visual, right? So we have the decomposition tree. Again, it tells you the hierarchical data exploration using machine learning. We have the anomaly detection. This feature I've used for some clients. Where you've built it tries to do like the time series outlier identification. So you have a time series data that is well structured and you want to see spikes and maybe someone explain what are these spikes or what are these anomalies in that data. This is something I've used before. You have forecasting in Power BI. Again, someone may question if this is like super accurate, but this feature actually exists. Also, if you use like maybe the line visual, the area charts and the like, it can forecast to a reasonable extent what the next how the trend will be. And then of course we have the clustering visual where you have unsupervised machine learning for segmentation. So maybe with a few show of hands, if you've used at least 4 of these AI powered functionalities in Power BI, can we see your hands? I've used 4, at least 4 of these. These are these are features that are already in Power BI. Most of these things cannot be less than 3 years old right now, and they predate all the AI before even we had like the old Gen AI mainstream. So these are features. If you can take a screenshot of this page, please do. These are already AI functionalities that are in your Power BI desktop. So I'm seeing the hands. Thank you. I think I've seen about 7, 8 hands already. So these are functionalities that are in your, and they can actually change the way you think about Power BI if these are the only features that you use in Power BI. So you can check them out. Most of them are not in preview anymore. They are generally available and you can check them out. Okay. Now let's move to the AI and BI intersection. Where does AI meet business intelligence? I think I've sort of summarized this, but I'll just give it a final one before I move to the next conversation. Traditional BI, here we are describing descriptive analytics, what has happened. We are building dashboard to show the past. We have manual query creation, so you're writing all your DAX yourself, or your M code, all of this you're doing yourself. You have static dashboards and reports. When I say static dashboard, I don't mean like the numbers don't change, but I mean that the visual itself are static, right? They don't answer a new question. It's what is there that is just being refreshed, okay? We have the rule-based alerts. We have set the alerts. We have set the rules. They are not dynamic. They don't change. When you say, okay, send me an alert where the sales hit 5 million or 10 million, and so on and so forth, right? This is the way we have traditionally done BI, right? Human-driven insights, right? It is the insight you give to the end users that they take, okay? And then you have scheduled refresh cycles. Of course, all of these are things that I want to believe like 80 to 90% of people on this call are very, very comfortable with. But what are we looking at? How is it looking in terms of AI enhanced BI? All right. So people want to do predictive and prescriptive analytics from their BI environment. All right. We want to be able to use natural language query. You want a situation whereby your dashboard is not even a dashboard, it's just a blank canvas. All right. And they can do anything they want, right? With, of course, the numbers are going to be correct, they're going to be accurate, and it's just prompting to give them very, very good visuals and very, very good insight. They want dynamic and adaptive visualization. Some people get bored if they're seeing the same visuals all the time. I've had stakeholders say, okay, we love your dashboard, we have insight, we've been seeing it, but can you just change it? I'm tired of looking at it. And you have that bias with stakeholders a lot. They've seen a dashboard multiple times. Now, when you start seeing something, there is this, I've forgotten what it's called in psychology. When you see something over time, even if it's telling you the truth, it tends to lose its relevance, because it's the same thing. It's like you're driving and all your dashboard lights are on. If you have a very clean dashboard light and the very first time your tire pressure comes up, it sparks something in your mind. You want to get to the next vulcanizer and just pump the tire. Or you see a check engine light, like you want to fix it. But imagine if you've been driving around for 6 months, your check engine light is on, your tire pressure lights are on, your brake lights, everything is on. It doesn't spark anything anymore in your mind because you've seen it consistently. All right, that's how some executives see dashboard. They want something new, they want something refreshed. Again, let me chip in something here. A lot of us build dashboard and we send alerts to stakeholders, maybe every day, or a screenshot of the dashboard or something every single day. And many of us have noticed that after some time, if you go look at the open rate, maybe if there's a way you can check who are the people even viewing these emails or viewing these alerts, you find out that after some time, sometimes after 1 week, after 2 weeks, nobody opens that email anymore. All right, it's a certain bias that everything you're constantly sending the same thing over and over again. Alerts, like I mean, you did this is the sales numbers for today. This is this for today. They only open it when they get to see. It's like when you subscribe to a newsletter. All right, your very first few times they send that, you are excited to open it. After some time, I mean, we all have newsletters that are gathering dust in our email, so I won't stress much about it. Intelligent anomaly detection. People want to be able to see. We want to see where there's an anomaly in our data, all right, using AI capability, AI discovered patterns, and also real-time event-driven insights, right? I hope you're still together. Please, if you're still together, how do you, maybe just give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know that I'm still communicating. I can't see the chat, by the way, so maybe I should even switch to chat if there is anyone talking to me there. Yeah, so Bankole is saying they don't open it again until the day you stop uploading, and then boom, they will open it. So that's exactly how it is. All right. So if you have a dashboard that you've been sending alerts, just stop it for this week. Don't say I'm the one that if they ask you why, don't mention my name, please. But stop it for the week. Just stop it for 2 weeks and start it again. It reignites that need or that desire in their mind. All right. But when something is just available, you're sending it to them, there's an alert that is configured, it's just sending that, they stop opening it. All right. Now, moving on. So the key insight here is that AI is not replacing BI, it's augmenting it. And the future is AI-enabled developers who can understand and have the best of both worlds literally. Now, there's something I now try to do. I want to see currently how are BI developers or how are Power BI developers using AI currently. I've distributed this into 4 scenarios. All right, how we are currently leveraging generative AI capabilities in our day-to-day job. Okay, the very first one, I call it scenario 1, which I want to believe that 90 to 95% of the people on this call are comfortable with at this point. All right, which is basically using chatbots to support your BI development. So your chatbot is disconnected from your model. You are just prompting your Claude, your Gemini, your Grok, your ChatGPT, your DeepSeek. Let's do a quick spot check here. Please drop the best generative AI platform in the chat. Let's see which one is the best for BI development work. Maybe we can all learn together. Which one is the best? I see 2 Claudes. Francis, if you can start a poll, I don't know if that's possible. If you can start a poll, please do that in the chat as well.
Yeah, wow. I will do that.
I'm seeing Claude all through. Wow. Claude. I don't want to believe this. You want to cause trouble? Please drop in the chat the best Gen AI platform. Hey, someone is saying ChatGPT is overhyped. Claude, interesting. I'm in a relationship with Copilot. Wow. I love that. Copilot. Wow. I love this. So far, I've only seen Claude and Copilot. This is very, very interesting. Only seen Claude and Copilot. There's no mention of ChatGPT. There's no mention of Gemini. There's no mention of Grok. There is no mention of which other one?
DeepSeek.
DeepSeek was you know, when you have a new, when you are in SS2 and you have a new kid just come in, like few months to WAEC, and everybody is trying to be his friend, like, oh, that's what DeepSeek did to AI. For the first 2 months that DeepSeek was around, it was the best. Everybody wanted to be DeepSeek's friend. But now, look at all. Betrayals. We have dumped the guy and we have moved on. Okay, this is very interesting. I've seen only Claude and Copilot so far. No mention of ChatGPT, or I'm not going to tell you which one is my best. I don't want to bias anybody's opinion, but I mean, we can also look at the charts and it tells a very interesting story. Okay, so Power BI developers are using AI. Chatbots is the very first scenario or the first type of people. So we have the AI platform is completely disengaged from our model. We'll prompt the AI platform separately, whether to ask questions or to modify our code, our DAX, to ask for insights or to ask it for visual help and the likes. And then we copy that prompt and apply it, or we ask it questions on how to transform data, and then we apply that into our model. This is the very first way or the scenarios of how people use Gen AI today. All right, that is outside of the AI embedded functionalities in Power BI. And like I said, 80 to 90% of us on this call are very comfortable with this approach. Now, let's move to what I call scenario 2, which is building augmented chatbot to support BI development. And this is where your MCP servers and the likes come in. I'm not going to dwell so much on this. I know that Francis is going to do a very thorough job of MCP servers and the likes. Now, what are we doing here? We are connecting our model to the AI platform. And there is a tight integration between our model. So whether we're using Claude Desktop, we're using it in VS Code, all right? And we are connecting, our our model to the AI platform. And we are having that interconnection between both. So we see the flow here. We have the user. This is hosted in, maybe you're using the Cloud Desktop or you're using VS Code as your interface, all right? And you're connected to the Power BI MCP servers, you have your GitHub and Azure DevOps as your source control, and you have this integration, of course, with your Power BI development environment, and you can work, you can switch context between both solutions or both tools. This is also scenario 2. Maybe if I do a quick survey, maybe only 10 to 20% of us have used MCP servers or have done this before. Also, there's something that I can also put in under this is where we have the old TMDL view. I call it TMDL. I don't know why people call it TMDL. I can't for the life of me pronounce that word. But so we have all of that, and you can of course extend these capabilities to VS Code. You can use GitHub Copilots and the likes, and you have that interconnection between. Now you're moving into what I call a code and not a code first, but you're supporting your BI development work with code. There is something that is underlying all of these things, and I'm going to get to it by the time I finish the 4th scenario. Okay, so this is what I call the scenario 2. People are using chatbots, are using this this environment to augment their VI development. Now let's go to scenario 3, and this is the area of agents. All right, now we are building agents to support Power BI development work. Okay, so we have agents and sub-agents, all right, that are built, right, in an IDE environment, right, mostly maybe VS Code and the likes, and we have predefined, we have automated like the whole flow, right, programmatically on how we want to detect changes. So maybe, for example, somebody opens a ticket, you've published a dashboard, somebody opens a ticket, you want this agent to look at your platform and see what is this ticket. Oh, this person wants to, this person cannot refresh, or this insight is not correct, and like. So the agent looks at the ticket, understands the context of that, goes into the, somebody is muted. Can we mute everyone, please? Francis, help with that. Right? Somebody goes into, this agent goes into make changes, of course, with supervision. All right, and is able to resolve the tickets, and we can mark the tickets as done or the likes. So in this case, we have like you're going to use a number of tools. This is of course going to include your MCP servers. You're going to have like strong. You're going to be using the CLI. Also going to be using the built-in functions that are available to you within Power BI for this, and you have that end-to-end like agentic flow. There are so many scenarios, so many examples, but for the interest of time, this is a possible. I mean, again, we're talking about the possibilities. What are people doing today? And it's as it comes to leveraging Gen AI in Power BI dashboard development. Okay, and you have all of this integrated with your source code, maybe your GitHub or Azure DevOps, and all of this is tying back to your Fabric workspace. Okay, you can automate the whole flow of creating a workspace, building the data flow, copying the data, moving it from the source, cleaning it to destination, to setting up deployment pipeline and the likes, using the Fabric CLI, working with MCP servers, and also AI agents. I don't know if we are in this realm. Somebody shout power. Okay, moving on. Let's go to Francis. Do I know you before? Have I seen you before? How do I know all of this is possible? Yes, Abdullah is saying power. Okay, scenario 4. is where we have asynchronous agents. Again, this is a part of them. This is like Zen level development. Now we have agents working independently. All right, clearing GitHub backlog issues. All right, we have autonomous agents. They are creating branches. They are merging branches. They are picking tickets, resolving tickets, closing it, fixing bugs. Power BI dashboard is not refreshing. Refresh is timing out. Refresh is failing. Gateway is bad. And you have asynchronous agents that are picking up this task, resolving it, publishing it, closing out this ticket. Again, you will find very little implementation of people that have actually made this work. But this is what I don't want to say future, because when I keep saying future, people may think this is something of 10, 20 years down the line. This is something that is currently going on, or there's something currently happening. And with more use cases, before June or December this year, all of this is going to blow up. And you start seeing automation. People are already selling, businesses are already being started selling this automation to businesses. They're going to automate your part. They have seen a company that pitched that they just need to sit through the first discovery call, and then they look at your database, connect to it. The agents will know the correct right API to call. You have your CRM system or and the likes, and they have APIs. These agents are built. They have API. They will call the right API, pull in the right data, transform it, clean it, and the likes. Again, it will be, someone may argue that it will be dangerous at this point to give this autonomous control to asynchronous agents. But again, this is where we are going, right? And I don't want to be a prophet of doom. So I'll move on. Everything is still looking good. Somebody shout power. Now, back to the question I started with. Is my job safe as a BI developer? What is the evolution of my role as I go? So what will AI automate? Don't let me say rubbish. Right? So you have those, those your repetitive DAX calculations, right? AI now can write DAX faster than you can even prompt it. All right. I've seen AI write up to 15 or 30 time intelligence functions in less than 15 seconds. All those repetitive tasks you're writing DAX. Basic data transformation, you are pivoting columns, you're removing errors, you're removing dollar sign and the likes. All of these, just think of any repetitive task that you do right now in Power BI. AI can most likely automate it. Those standard reporting templates, all right? So you already have a template. You've built a dashboard for this. You want to use it for another project, or you're building something very similar. At the end of every month, you build reports for stakeholders to answer one question. Anything that is automated, that is repetitive, Power BI AI can automate it. Routine data quality checks. You see how you classify your columns, in Power Query, for example, to check what do we call it? What do we call this thing again? In all those column profiling, column statistics, all of those already have some AI enablement in there. Scanning through your data, knowing which ones are text, which ones are numbers, which ones needs to be clean, and all of those things, those boring repetitive things, AI can automate them. Your simple visualization, pie chart, bar charts, like all of those, AI can build pie chart or pie chart better than you can even think. You can try, I don't know if any of us have tried this Copilot integration into Power BI. I know that you need a Fabric F64 capacity to do that. I don't know if that is still the case. The last time I checked, you need an F64 capacity to use Copilot in Power BI. But if you really use Copilot in Power BI, you'll be, let me use the word, you'll be flabbergasted. It's not there yet. It's not perfect, but that thing can look at your data model and build visuals for you that you just need to correct or fix. You know all those boilerplate documentation as well, where you're adding, where you're just adding descriptions and to your columns and to your tables, or where you're putting in data dictionary and all of those things. AI can most likely automate all of this. But there's some good news. What can it not automate? What is still remaining critical? Business context and domain expertise. All right. AI will still struggle to do things like this. AI does not know when you say sales, AI would not know that that is sales minus refunds, minus returns, minus bad or damage or lost in transit. The business context is still germane. The domain expertise is still germane. All right. So AI is still going to struggle with all of this. All right. And that is where the human, the PI developer is still going to shine. Critical thinking and business solving. All right. AI works best when you prompt it, when you teach it or tell it to do stuff. Being able to derive that context and being able to use it, all right, is still something that is missing for AI. All right. When you need to decide the best course of action, all right, AI is as good as the prompt you give it to it. All right. But as humans, you can think critically and you can solve problems. You have stakeholder communication. Again, this is very, let me, if I can derive something out of this, is that how many of us have realized that most of your job as a Power BI developer or as an analyst is how you communicate with stakeholders. It's not even the dashboard you build. If you have you ever gone into a business meeting before and you know you cooked beans, all right, but the way you talk, you present it, you talk about it, you can even sway your stakeholders away. And there is a way you've done a fantastic job. You spent all night, you spent all weekend working on that dashboard, and then you get into the business meeting and you're stammering, you're not sure of yourself, and somebody rubbishes everything that you have done. That stakeholder, it tells you that people don't just trust your data only, they trust you, the human. And if you have an AI that is constantly spinning out insights, a business stakeholder will still need a human to interpret that. Can I trust this thing? Right? Is this thing accurate? Because there is that tendency that can we completely trust machines, all right, or systems? They need that human confidence because when they want to make a decision, so you say sales is dropping in the Orlando region, it's an AI system is not going to tell me to go open 5 new branches and spend billions. They need somebody to anchor that decision on. Francis, you're saying that if we open up more branches in this region, we are going to increase our sales by 20%. Francis will say yes. And AI cannot tell you that with certainty. Even if it does, you can't trust it because when it goes south, you're not going to hold the AI responsible. At least you can fire Francis. All right. So that is how humans will continue to remain relevant. Data governance and ethics. How are we defining, how are we holding, storing PII information? Staying compliant with all the GDPR and NDPR regulations. All right. How are we making sure that we're using the right data, we're answering the right question, we are defining the right data? I solved the problem for a client some few moments ago. You walk into an environment and somebody says sales, and sales mean different thing to the sales team. It means something else to the finance team. It means something else entirely to business. And you can't even organize, you can't even agree on what is total sales. Okay? Defining all of those and having a standardized glossary of what our KPI means in the organization. AI will not do that. You still need a BI developer. You still need a solution architect. You still need a data analyst to define all of those. All right. Complex architectural design. Coming up with designing a system from the ground up, right? Building all of this with the context of the business. All of these things are things that AI is still going to struggle because these are not repetitive, boring tasks. These are things that require the critical thinking, the domain expertise, and human. Or a human. Why did I keep saying an human? I'm sorry. My English used to be better than this. I don't know what happened. Okay? These are things that still need a human to make this decision. Strategic decision support. I think I've mentioned this in one of these points. So I'm just going to move on. What is it looking at? Well, what is the future looking at for the new BI developer role? The people that are going to be the next generation of BI developers are the people that can use AI smartly, all right, in the course of their role. It are people that understand that the BI development, as we know, is building dashboard and sending it to stakeholders is changing. They now need somebody that can build intelligent solutions, all right, that support key critical business decision making, all right. How they are going to leverage that? You cannot be the one writing spending time writing DAX. All of those are going to be automated. Spending 5 hours, I've troubleshooted one DAX measure many years ago for the entire of my weekend, almost 24 hours, just struggling with it and trying to make it work. AI is going to automate all of that. Now I'm going to use my time and my energy and my resources to focus on what matters, to help the business make better decisions. Don't forget that ultimately, our job is to help the company make better decisions, not to build dashboards. It's the dashboard are a means to an end. They're not the end itself. All right. So they are going to trust you as the human now to be the one that is leading the business revolution. All right. And decision-making process in the organization. So we're having AI solutions architect. You're going to be designing new systems, combining human expertise with AI. A very good prompt engineer, you know the right questions to give the AI to work. You know when to delegate something to AI. The BI developer, the data analyst for the future, are not the people that are AI is going to write. They are the people that can use AI to make their lives easy. You know what to delegate to AI. You know what prompt to give it. And when it is wrong, and that is where your knowledge comes in, that person will know, and that is why I see quality assurance here. That person knows that this output is wrong. It lacks accuracy, there's bias in it. That is going to be your job. So you know when to say, oh, this AI is cooking beans for me. Okay? I know that not everyone on this call are Nigerian. So when we say cooking beans in Nigeria, it just means that you're, I don't know how to put it, you're spilling garbage. Okay? So the BI role is evolving. You have strategic advisor. These are people that translate business needs to AI-enhanced solutions. All right? We now need to start thinking beyond that traditional tools again and start seeing how are we solving business problems. I say this 1 billion and one time, and I'll keep saying it if I have the chance. All right, that is how the BI developer role is evolving. Okay, what can AI do properly? I've summarized it. I'm just going to give you an insight before I move on. Natural language processing, all right, Q&A visual, being able to ask questions in plain English, smart narrative, auto-generative text insights, Copilot, natural language reports creation, MCP servers, and the whole works. Predictive capability, you can forecast, you can do clustering, you can do what-if scenarios. You can automate analytics, all right? Pattern discovery, key influencers, anomaly detection. It can do development acceleration. It can help you write DAX functions. It can suggest data transformation. It can create layouts from description, all right? I've prompted AI before to give me an entire wireframe for a dashboard, right? And you can take that same wireframe and prompt it and say, give me like a high fidelity mockup that I can share with clients. I use AI as a solutions. I use AI as a data consultant. This are things that I use in my day-to-day. You go on a discovery call, all right? You jot down all your notes. You prompt AI to give you a wireframe of what the dashboard that you discuss is going to look like. It gives you a good wireframe. You take that wireframe and ask it to give you a high fidelity mockup. You don't need to spend time going on Figma and trying to do all of this. I mean, it's good to know Figma. It's good to know how to use visuals to draw.io, but AI accelerates all of these things, all right? It suggests data transformation. It creates layouts from descriptions. What can AI not do? Limitation of Gen AI in Power BI. Context blindness. It cannot understand the business nuances without explicit instruction. I think I've said this already. It misses industry experience, specific terminologies. It lacks organizational knowledge. All of these are the things that you human are going to bring to the works. All right. So AI is not automatically going to sweep you away from your job. It's going to change the way you do your job, and you have to change with it. Otherwise, you are going to be like the Excel analyst that did not evolve to Power BI or other business intelligence tools. And right now, nobody is hiring. Just go Google, go look at jobs. Nobody is hiring an Excel data analyst anymore. In 2014, 2015, we used to see Excel data analyst as a job post. You don't see that anymore. So we need to rethink how we are approaching this right now. Okay. So it lacks organizational knowledge and it doesn't know strategic priorities. What is the next thing we need to build? What is the next problem we need to solve? What is the next insight we need to give? All of those contexts are missing for AI, and that is where the human comes in. Critical thinking gap. It cannot question if the data measure is the right thing. I gave an example of what total sales mean the other time. It can't tell. How do you define total sales? Is it gross sales? Is it net sales? Are you removing returns? Are you removing damages and the likes? All right. AI cannot do all of that. You humans are going to be the one to do that. It doesn't have intuition about data quality issues. You need to prompt it. You need to ask it specifically to do certain things. It's unable to challenge flawed assumptions. Have you ever seen how I don't want to mention that particular because in the other time when I did the poll of the Gen AI, there are some AI, Gen AI platforms. They are very gullible. If you tell it something, it follows you, it confirms your assumption. All right. If you ask it that, can I just want to look at something very, very ridiculous. Can I process 1 billion or one petabyte of data in Power BI? It's going to tell you yes. If you assert it very well, it's going to listen to your own flawed assumption and it's going to agree with you. It's not going to challenge. Maybe sometimes it challenges your opinion, but if you force it, it accepts it. That cannot be the AI that businesses are going to be to rely on to make decisions. Okay, it doesn't understand the difference between causation and correlation. I don't want to spend time. I know that I'm supposed to stop right now, so I'm just going to round up in 5 minutes and allow Francis to take over. It doesn't know the difference between or understand the difference between correlation and causation. So sales increase during the rainy season. Does that mean that it's the rainy season that caused the sales to increase? Humans are going to be the ones to look for external factors to support whether something that is a natural correlation is actually a causation. Technical constraints, hallucinations. Have you seen where Gen AI tools are giving you DAX functions that will not run? You need a human to prompt and reprompt and reprompt and correct and even edit before some of these DAX functions are going to work. It has limited understanding of complex relationships. It can do the simple ones and many to one. But when we start looking at secondary relationships and the likes, and you want to do all the very funky stuff in the data model, it gets confused and it gets stuck. It cannot optimize performance without guidance, and it struggles with edge cases. It can do, again, the repetitive, boring stuff. It cannot innovate, and it cannot think critically outside the box unless you explicitly prompt it to. So what is the reality check? The reality check is that AI is a powerful assistant, but it is not a replacement, all right? Every AI solution still needs a human to review that work. Apologies for that. Okay, now I'm just rounding up right now. Why BI and analytics still need humans? Business context and domain experts have explained this already. Critical thinking and skepticism, and I've explained this. Stakeholder communication, I've explained this. Ethical judgment and governance, I've explained this as well. So I'm not going to spend time. Now, what are the tools or best practices that BI developers should start looking at? All right, what are the new things you need to start getting under your belt? It's not just Power Query, data model, DAX, and reports anymore. We need to start understanding how REST API works. All right, how do we embed Power BI into third-party solutions? All right. Apologies. Okay. AI development. The MLSDK, there's an MLSDK in Power BI. You can try it. It's a very fantastic tool. What are the Python R integration for testing? Again, this is not to say that we need to learn all of this. All right, it's not let's go learn all this. No, just know that these are the tools, all the tools that are now tightly integrated into Power BI that people are using for different scenarios. All right. CI/CD pipelines, I mean, for your data set, custom visual development. People are building custom visuals right now in Power BI. Okay, performance optimization, query optimization with AI insights, incremental refresh strategies, caching and aggregation layer, monitoring the application insights. These are like concepts, these are tools, these are best practices that Power BI developers are now getting comfortable with. They're not just building dashboards anymore. You're now understanding, we are now getting drawn. You know, we are comfortable before with, especially those of us that come from the Excel background. We just want to do like I just want to focus on the analysis, but you are not just that person anymore. You're now making you think like a full-fledged developer that is now looking at the interaction and intersection between Power BI and all the other tools that are surrounding it. All right. You have now a code first capability. You have the MCP server, and you have all of these things. And now tightly integration, the Vertipack analyzer, the TMDL view, the PBIR, and all of those things. And you now have to become abreast with all of these things in order for you to build the solution that we are trying to build. Doesn't mean that we need to learn all of these things right away. These are just things that we need to get comfortable with as we move on. Governance and security consideration. I don't want to spend much time on this at all. As humans, we need to start understanding the layer, the intersection between AI, governance, and security. AI is coming into most businesses right now, and a lot of businesses are going to be in trouble with how they use AI, how they use Gen AI. You're going to see fines start flying around for so many businesses right now. People are exposing personal identifiable information to their Gen AI systems. People are asking ChatGPT and using their company data to prompt and ask questions. All of these things are not things that, so we need to understand the privacy and compliance consideration, PII, data residency requirements. Where the AI that you're prompting, where is it resident in? Does your client allow you to move their data out, to process their data in that region? Audit trails for AI decisions, model governance, version control for AI models, model performance monitoring, bias detection and mitigation, documentation and explaining what exactly the AI is doing. All right. It's not just about it doing it. Can we document it? Can we explain it? Access control and the likes. Future proofing your skills. This is my final slide. What is the key takeaway? What is the learning path? What should we start getting comfortable with? Mastering DAX for AI enhanced calculations. You're not the one going to be writing all the DAX, but when you need to now write those nuanced calculations, where you need to prove and audit what the AI is doing, we need to get comfortable with that. Understanding the basics, not full-fledged Python, understanding the basics. When you see a Python code, when you see AI give you something, or you want to use custom visuals, can you modify it? Can you proofread it? Can you edit it? Understanding basic ML fundamentals. What is text to speech, speech to text, and all of these things. The current Power BI releases, staying current. Francis just mentioned something. There's a new releases every single month that before you know it, that BI has released a lot of things, and you don't even know. They've lost you in 2024. Some of us are still stuck in
Sorry, I think we lost Fatai. Am I audible, please? I mean, while Fatai is just trying to connect again, do you have questions? Question? You want to drop a question in the chats, or you want to come up mic and ask your question? What are your imaginations? Or 2-3 volunteers to tell us what they've learned so far.
Thank you, sir. Thanks to both Fatai for the amazing session. So I think I have two questions to ask. So
So
this AI,
caveat, your question, if it's beyond my power, if I will come back and answer it.
no problem.
Sorry, I'm not. That's the end of my slide. That was my last slide, by the way. So, thank you very much, everyone, and it has been an honor sharing this with you. Back to you, Francis. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Fatai. Thank you. That was a very wonderful session. I learned quite a number of things myself. And I was just asking people to tell us some of the things that they've learned or if they have questions. But I think Pelumi has a question. So if you have a question, just raise your hand and then we can have it in an orderly manner. So Pelumi, go ahead. If there's any other person that wants to ask any question, please raise up your hand. Or if you are mic shy, you can just drop it in the chat for us to answer before we start the second session.
Okay, all right. Thank you once again, Boss Fatai, for the great session. So I said I have two questions. So the first one would be, yeah, AI is everywhere and there's a lot of pressure, most especially for beginners, thereabouts, or even those that are intermediate. Oh, how do I manage this and the likes? So what will you, let's say, recommend? I know you've gone us through your slide, but I just want a practical scenario. What would you recommend for someone that want to learn Power BI in this era? How do you think the person should approach it? Yeah, a very practical one. I know a lot of people will say do this, do that, but let's be realistic with what the business is saying. That's the first question. And then the second question would be, how do you think one can manage AI with technical competence? Because if one gets used to the AI of a thing, one would just leave everything to AI. Oh, I want to do this in Power BI, write the DAX code for me. And trust me, if you sit the person down, okay, come and write this DAX, the person can't write anything. So how do you think one can manage this AI with technical competence so that one will not lose its value in the market? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Belumi. I think those are very, very, very interesting questions. So let me start with the first question you asked about someone that is learning Power BI in 2026. I think if you ask me, I may be biased, but I think that they have it better than most of us. Why do I say that? I will equate it to learning to drive manual. If you're learning to drive a manual car at that time, uh, so maybe what we drove or the Power BI that we drove is manual. But now it looks like someone that is learning to drive in 2026 is learning to drive Power BI in auto, right? It doesn't mean they're going to be less of an analyst. It just means that a lot of things have now been um, democratized. So they'll still have to go through the fundamental, the same work, the same flow, all right? Understanding the basic, understanding the foundation of data in itself. How does data permeate an organization? Most time when I teach Power BI, that is what I start with. I don't even start with the tools. I don't start with Power BI. I don't start with get data. I and the realization for me was when I first started teaching data. I mean, we just work with the flow. Now we talk about the description of what data analytics is. We talk about the tools for data analytics, and then we just jump back Excel or jump back Power BI, right? And we just give a is this scenario business scenario, and then get data. Why are we getting data? People don't know. Why are we going to get data? All right. So understanding that foundation of how data permeates an organization, I think is very, very key. How do we move? How does the data move from applications or software or system to a database? All right. How does it go from a database to coming into the BI solution or BI system? All right. Now, and then again, the whole flow. So they first need to understand that foundation and that fundamental. Okay. Now, it now building up to that is as you are now doing this, or as you're doing this person now is now abreast of all of these other things that are moving together with Power BI. Again, someone may think that, oh, someone that is just starting, you don't want to overload them, you don't want to overwork them. I totally agree, and I align with this, right? You don't want to stuff them with so much. Even some of us on this call today may be scared that, I just started learning this Power BI. You people are coming with all these things again. Let us rest. Don't kill us, right? But again, it's something I said when I started my call, right? You don't want to be innovated out of relevance in an organization. Okay, you want to stay up with the trends so that the dynamics of the workplace is changing. You are also changing with it. All right. The people that learn typewriting that did not evolve to become when computer came out, there are no more typewriters now, right now. Okay. Everyone have moved. So imagine if someone that was learning typewriter and say, you computer people are just stressing everybody. Typewriter is already okay. Why are we learning computer? Now those people don't have jobs anymore. All right. So understanding the basis, understanding the fabrics of, when I say fabric, I don't mean Microsoft Fabric now. The whole fabric of the data landscape and how does data connect to each other. So I want to learn DAX, for example. I've learned all the basics, time and I understand why we need to go same period last year, same period previous year, and all of that. I have a comprehensive course. I've gone through a comprehensive course on that. All right. It is after you have learned the basics that you can start building on all of these other AI functionalities or AI capabilities. I think if I was learning in 2026, that is how I would go. And again, it's also important that maybe if we are trainers or if we are teaching at this point, we can start introducing some of these simple AI things to our audience. It doesn't mean that we want um to scare them because people are coming from different backgrounds, for example, right? So we can start mentioning some of these things. They don't have to use it, they don't have to know how to use it, but at least knowing that these things exist and there are faster and better ways to get to a solution, I think it works. I think that drives me into your second question of you are dedicating everything to AI, and at the end of the day, at what point you don't even know enough. And in all honesty, Pelumi, that is a very, very germane question that I was even having a conversation with Francis some weeks ago and a lot of other people about these things. AI, for most people, would limit basic cognitive functions or cognitive abilities. I don't know. I've not seen any research on this. I don't know if there are research, but I know from what I've seen that the more you dedicate to AI, especially for stuff you don't know, the more you let AI be the brain you think with, the more you offload like all of those basic brain functions to AI. So what I do, all right, is I dedicate, like again, the boring, repetitive stuff to AI. I've started with a customer or with a client. This person wants to build a data warehouse component. They want to build a dashboard and the likes. I've noted down all the key uh, points from that meeting. Okay, I want to design a wireframe. I can design a wireframe, but I don't want to spend time to do that. I push that prompt, write very good prompt, and pass it to you. I say, design me a wireframe. From wireframe, I get my high fidelity mockups, right? I'm not passing the basic functionality to AI to say, do everything for me or think for me how to design a system. I know how to do solution design. All right. Now, bringing back to the general public, again, it depends on how each person wants to approach it. Me, I believe that if you know the basic and you know the foundation and the fundamentals, then you can start. You design it in your head. So I'm learning DAX, for example, right? I will write the DAX and I will tell AI to correct it for me. That is how I will learn. I'm not going to ask Dax to write all my DAX for me. If I was learning Power BI in 2026, I will do it and then I will ask. I do that even most of the time, all right, with Python. I will write my Jaga Jaga Python like I can, and I would say puncture holes in this syntax and get it, correct it for me and tell me a better way and more efficient way to write this. That way, I'm killing two birds with one stone. I'm learning how to write Python better at the same time I'm getting good code. But at the same time, I'm using my brain. I'm not offloading all my thinking faculty to AI. All right. So that is how I will learn, and that is how I would approach us to learn. If we dedicate everything to AI, it's only a matter of time before we struggle with the simple things. To wrap up your question, I'll use the example of a calculator. When I was in school, I used to be very good with all these quick maths. If you tell me 97 plus 89 times 19, it may take a couple of seconds, but I can come up with it. Now, if we throw that challenge to every single person on this call, I doubt even give some people 5 minutes. Don't use biro and paper. You will struggle with those basic computing. And why? Because we have calculators right now, and we have offloaded all that cognitive part of the brain. We have offloaded it to calculator. Doesn't mean calculators are bad. No. But again, it means that you are less ability. I memorized the entire times table when I was young. There was a neighbor of mine that would beat the shit out of me. Sorry for the French. For me to memorize the times table. So if you tell me 24 times 19, or you tell me 12 times 9, I can tell you all of those things are going now if they are not gone already. All right. So these are things that we need to. There are some of the downsides of AI, and I'm sure that with more conversations like this, people learn to know what to dedicate to AI and what to do for themselves. Thank you.
I think Fatai did very much does justice to that question. So I will just add, for me, what I do to keep up with being technical, I don't outsource my my comprehension to AI, is that even when AI is giving me a particular solution, I look through it. If it's DAX, for example, do I understand what this DAX is doing? If I don't understand it, then I don't want to use it, because if I need to adjust something later in the nearest future, then I'm not able to do it. Same thing for Python, same thing for PySpark. One thing you should learn to do is that, yes, you may not be able to write maybe some of this code yourself, but you should be able to do it and understand it. I mean, Python is a language, DAX too, it's a sort of formula or language, but you should be able to read it. Even though you cannot write it, then you should be able to read it. So your brain should have the read permission, even does not have the right permission, sort of. So thanks so much, Fatai, for your time today. We hope to have other sessions with you. It was very